The cheers light the beam. You'll be hearing about that throughout the year with the Sacramento Kings.
Are you ready? They want it!
Yeah.
Light the beam!
They do not know what Sacktown brings. When on the low, that's a Sacktown thing. Talking about us, it's a bounce out thing. Must they forgot we some Sacramento Kings. Whole squad going crazy, yeah, we back with it. Northern Cali going crazy, one sack winning. If you doubted us then, ain't no backspinning. This is real right here, ain't no catfishing. So tell me what you see now. Coming down the lane off the rebound. It's 9-16 now. Look towards the sky like the beam now. Tell them like the beam, like the beam now. You can tell them like the beam now. Tell them like the beam now. You can tell them like the beam now. Tell them like the beam, like the beam now. You can tell them like the beam now. Tell them like the beam now. If you reppin' that Kings like the beam now. Sack crowd, make sure everyone knows. Let me tell you how this thing really goes. Yeah, we travel deep. Whether we home or on the road, we lit. You don't want that smoke, we the team of the year. We shaking things over here, don't doubt. We believe over here, we don't bleed over here. And let me just speak real clear. Only deal with real kings over here. So tell me what you see now. Coming down the lane off the rebound. It's 9-16 now. Look toward the sky like the beam now. Tell them like the beam, like the beam now. You can tell them like the beam now. Tell them like the beam now. You can tell them like the beam now. Tell them like the beam, like the beam now. You can tell them like the beam now. Tell them like the beam now. If you reppin' that Kings like the beam now.
Light the beam! Woo!
JC, you cold for this one.
Keegan
Murray.
What's up, Kings fans? Welcome back to Royal Rebounds, a Sacramento Kings YouTube channel for fans, by fans. The Kings win again tonight, Calvin. They are now on a 6-game winning streak. They defeat the Oklahoma City Thunder 118-113. Of course, we saw a huge game by SGA, and the Thunder were making threes all night long. But Sabonis gets a triple-double. De'Aaron Fox has a late basket to seal it. And, Calvin, we get another victory here. Feels good, right?
Feels great, man.
Feels really good. Cheers. Enjoy, buddy.
We're here.
Welcome back, everybody. Welcome back. And if you're a Kings fan, make sure you smash up that like button, hit that subscribe button, and shout out to all my guys here in the chat. I see Jeff the Lefty's here, Jim, DJ, PK, D Fox Collector. Wow, new person. Jesus is here, Brian Thompson, Ivan is here, Fred is here, Marcus. Wow. Digital Rodders. Wow, we got a bunch of people here in the chat. Tito, shout out. Welcome in. Charles, Alfie Man. Wow. Welcome in, everybody. Hopefully you are all enjoying your Friday. Calvin, give me your first thoughts on the game tonight.
2 words, man. Keegan Murray. I was really excited about this game coming in. I think the Thunder are starting to get on more people's radar, but not enough people are really talking about them. They're a really good up-and-coming team, very young. They play a very exciting style of basketball, just like the Kings do. So this matchup had, excitement written all over it, I think, going into it. I thought it was going to be a close game, and the Kings got some big-time performances in this one to pull it out.
Yeah, another big performance for the Sacramento Kings. It wasn't as close as, some of the games of the past, but it also wasn't a blowout like we've been experiencing over the past couple weeks, Calvin. This was a little bit of a nail-biter, but, Calvin, I think that games like this are actually great for your basketball team.
100%.
It solidifies you as a team. It makes you trust in your players. It makes you trust in your teammates. You work on late-game situations, adversity. What do they say? You can't make a diamond without pressure, right?
That's right.
So I think games like this are definitely very, very important. I see you got the chain on tonight.
I do have the chain on.
Did you
Kings
like
won?
the beam already?
Oh, the beam is lit, dude.
The beam is really lit
It's lit.
tonight, huh? We got to check in with everybody here in the chat. Guys, I want to hear from you all. Who is your Kings player of the game? Go ahead and just write their last name in the chat. I'd like to hear from you all. Lydia is here. Good to see you or see your text, Lydia. And also, yeah, you can join us live on Twitter Spaces, as the bouncer's pointing out. All you got to do is head over to Twitter, follow us, Royal_Rebounds. You can click on our profile picture, and it'll allow you to join our space. You can request to come up on stage and have your voice heard. Fred, I know you're on it. Give me a few minutes. Let me get through the box score, and then
Fred is fiending.
We would love to hear from you, Fred. But Calvin, I think it's time to dive here into the box score. You want to read it for everybody tonight?
Yeah, let's do it. I mean, there's a lot to take in here. I think it's really an interesting. Sabonis, we'll start with him for, again, another triple-double. Only 9 shot attempts, 18 points, 14 assists, 13 rebounds. Got the double-double with points and assists before he even had the 10th rebound. Harrison Barnes, 11 points on 3 of 7 shooting. Like we said, it's all about Keegan tonight. 29 points, 14 rebounds, 10 of 12 from the field, 5 of 7 from 3. The dude was an animal. De'Aaron Fox had another great game, 25 points, only 2 assists, but some really, really tough defense down the stretch there in that fourth quarter to go along with 4 rebounds. And Kevin Huerter, 14 points, 2 of 7 from 3, 6
who's wearing the
rebounds.
chain, Cal.
Kevin Huerter is wearing the chain.
Wow.
Right now. I'm surprised to see that, actually, but
What do you think of that one of those last plays where he steps out of bounds?
he was definitely pushed.
Yeah.
He was definitely pushed. He still kind of slid a little bit. I felt like he should have. It's hard to say in the moment that you should, not let your foot slide out of bounds. I felt like he maybe could have. He was trying to sell the push a little bit, and that's what the momentum carried him out of bounds. He got pushed for sure, though. It should have been a foul.
Yeah. Par for the course for us Sacramento Kings fans, Calvin. The refs, I hate to blame it on the refs, but I feel like they're so involved in this game. I mean, how many times did we see SGA hook somebody's shoulder or their arm and kind of bring him inside, gets the foul call again? It's really, really frustrating. I don't know what to do, like how you improve it. But I'm starting to think that the NBA needs to be eye testing these referees. They need to be going in for eye tests like at least once a month at this point.
Yeah, I mean, the foul on Metu, the foul on Kevin Huerter, those were pretty rough. But if you look at the free throw disparity in this game, Kings shot a ton more free throws than Oklahoma City in this game. So don't get sucked in too much to those 2 calls, because the Kings were getting the whistle all night long.
Well, since you brought it up, Calvin, I think we might as well talk about that challenge call, because it's been on my mind.
Yeah.
And I know that if I don't talk about it now, it's just going to mess up the rest of the show, because I'm going to be thinking about it the entire time. So do you want to kind of give a little bit of a summary first on what happened on that play?
Well, yeah, I'm sure everybody saw it, but basically there's a shot goes up. I forget who even shot the first one. SGA maybe? And then Kenrick Williams comes in for an offensive rebound.
Worst haircut in the NBA.
Yeah, wait till you see what mine is going to be. I'm still scared what everybody's going to come up with.
Maybe that'll be an option.
The Kenrick Williams haircut?
Yeah.
Sure. It probably should be an option. I don't even know if my hair will do that, though. But anyway, he comes in for an offensive rebound, a putback dunk. They originally called a foul on Trey Lyles, and then the challenge overturns it to a foul on Metu. Or no, it was a layup by Jalen Williams. Reverse layup missed by Jalen Williams.
Yep.
Metu defended that shot and then gets jumped on his back by Kenrick Williams, ends up committing a foul after the challenge is deemed successful.
Foul on Metu.
Changed to a foul on Metu.
Metu was standing there, dude. He fouled him with the back of his neck or something, because it was
he didn't.
Kind of stupid. Well,
according to the officials,
I was confused by that entire play, right? First off, I didn't see any contact, so I didn't think there should have been a foul. 2, when you challenge a play, well, first off, it is, I'm not going to use the R word because I'm trying to be a better person here. It is stupid. It is ridiculous. There's my R word. It is ridiculous when you only get one challenge per game, even if it's successful, you don't get another challenge. And we've seen multiple horrible calls on the Sacramento Kings against the Kings early on in games, and they have not been challenged because Mike Brown wants to hold the challenge to later in games. Well, this time he challenges it. It is successful, Calvin. We lose our timeout. I don't know why. And then, of course, even if it's successful or not successful, we don't have another challenge for the rest of the game. And there was some plays late in the game, like SGA hooking people's arms and stuff like that, that I would have considered challenging. But we did not have a challenge. So can you please explain to me? I know we looked it up. Maybe you can read the official rule because I'm horrible with rules. But can you explain to me how, first off, a challenge is successful, but you still lose your timeout?
I can't explain that to you. There is so if you actually look up the challenge rules or the challenge rules for a coach's challenge, it is a very long and detailed list. It goes through a million different scenarios of when, how the challenge is affected based on timeouts, what plays you can challenge, what plays you can't challenge. It does say in the rules that if a challenge is initiated by a team calling a timeout first, even if they are successful in winning the challenge, they still lose the timeout because they called a timeout to initiate the replay. Okay. If the refs go to the replay without a timeout being called, then you save your timeout, if that makes sense.
Why would you call a timeout if you're challenging a play?
Because sometimes you want a little bit more time to look for your assistant coaches to look at the replay in order for you to say, yes, we want to challenge that.
Do you think that's what happened?
I am going to have to go back and look at it because I don't remember. Okay. They challenged it really fast, which makes me think that they didn't call a timeout first. But I can't remember off the top of my head if a timeout was called first.
It's just so confusing, right? Like, the challenge rules are ridiculous.
They do need to be revised, absolutely. Yeah. And if you read the full thing, it says in the challenge rules that they originally started as an experimental thing in the year 2021 with room to be revised, basically. Yeah. They just haven't gone back to that yet.
It needs to be revised.
Yeah.
I think it definitely needs to be revised. My second question to you is how did Metu foul him? That looked like an over-the-back foul.
That was an absolute no call, in my opinion. I really have no idea what we were seeing there. I think there were so many things wrong with how that play was officiated. First, they called the foul on Lyles, which I kind of understood. I mean, it makes way more sense than calling it on Metu, right? Because if you're the official standing behind the play, you can't quite see if Lyles actually pushes him in the back or not.
Yep.
So I'm at least okay with them calling that explanation and then going to the challenge and realizing, oh, there was no foul there. We're going to reverse this. But to then come and say, no, there wasn't a foul on Lyles, but there was a foul on the guy who just stood there and got jumped on, that to me is just absolutely ridiculous. I don't understand it whatsoever.
Yeah, refs, you suck chant, definitely. Calvin, real quick, can you do a quick Afro do?
My hair does not really grow. It is thick. It's
we need
curly.
Like a curling iron or something.
It would be, to be honest, it would probably be more like a Jerry curl than an afro.
Okay.
As crazy as that sounds.
Okay. If you guys do not know, I'm sure most of you do know, but Calvin was not a believer in the Sacramento Kings like myself.
Oh, come on. Don't give me that
He
crap.
said there is no way the Sacramento Kings are going to be the 5th or better seed in the Western Conference. And
How
Calvin,
many of you watching this right now really thought that the Kings would be in third place at this point in the season?
I did not even call you out.
Honestly, be honest. How many of you thought they would be in third place right now?
Someone called you out in the chat.
That's fine.
Not me.
That's totally fair.
You made the bet with that person.
I did. And to be fair to me, I said that they should still be a playoff team. I just didn't think they would be 5th or higher. Come on.
So what I'm trying to figure out here is obviously the Kings are going to be the 5th or better seed, right? So what date do we cut Calvin's hair?
It's
1.
not a guaranteed thing yet.
2, we're doing a poll to figure out what kind of haircut. But I think we need to figure out how many options we're narrowing it down to. Like, is this 3 options? Is it 5 options? I mean, we just added Williams's haircut as an option tonight, right? We already got the bowl cut, which I'm pushing for.
Yes.
I think someone suggested mohawk. And then what else?
Mullet
Definitely
has definitely been
mullet.
in
So
there.
that's 4.
Yeah.
Should we do more than 4 options?
I think Sabonis is better than my hair, Brian. That's for damn sure.
All right, they're tired of hearing
Four's
us.
probably good.
They're
I would say
tired of
4.
hearing us ramble, Calvin. So let's jump here back into the game. I saw somebody in the chat wanted. Oh, Lane says a perm. Can we turn the hair purple? Dude, I like this. I like these ideas, guys.
There's not going to be any hair left to turn purple. You guys want to take it all away from me.
No, you said I wasn't allowed to shave it, so there will be some hair left. It'll be interesting. But anyways, back to the game here. Somebody said in
Charles,
the chat
did the Lakers win
that they
that
wanted?
game? Wow, that's crazy.
Did they beat
They
the
beat
Grizzlies?
Memphis.
Wow, that's good for us. But somebody in the chat here said that they want to see Domantas Sabonis' stats tonight. Obviously, the triple-double, 18, 13, and 14. This moves him into what? 3rd place all-time for Sacramento Kings as far as triple-doubles go. I think he's got, is this 3 or 4? And he's like 3rd in the NBA
This
right
is
now.
his
There's a lot of threes there.
4th. No, 3rd, I think.
There's a lot of threes in that. They said he was like 3rd in the NBA in triple-doubles. Obviously, he's 1st in the NBA in double-doubles. I think this was either the 21st or 22nd consecutive double-double for
21st.
him, which leads the NBA. He moved into 3rd place all-time for Sacramento Kings. Only DeMarcus Cousins and Rajon Rondo are ahead of him. And the dude hasn't even played a full season with the Sacramento Kings. So,
wow.
Dude, I want to hear your thoughts on Sabonis because, we know he missed the last game. He had a case of the bubble guts, but he's back here. He's ready to go, and he played exceptionally well. 5 of 9, which is surprising, right? Normally, if you looked at that, and at one point in this game, Calvin, when we saw him just take it right to the basket, you're like, he needs to do that more. He needs to score more. Only 9 shot attempts for him tonight, Calvin. But he gets the triple-double. The Kings get the win. Tell me your thoughts on the big man.
Another fantastic game from him, right? I mean, I'll give you another stat. It doesn't have a 3 in it. Sabonis is number 1 in the NBA on most points per shot attempt. Goes to show how well he's shooting, right? He's shooting over 60% from the field. He has 18 points tonight on only 9 shot attempts. He is better than Nikola Jokic by just, I think it's 1/100th of a point or 2/100ths of a point, something like that. 1.65 points per shot attempt. He's incredibly efficient. He makes everybody else on this team better. 14 assists tonight to lead the way by far for the team. It's just unbelievable. Like he is so important to this team. When he plays, they are going to be in a position to beat anybody. And if they get the play from the supporting cast, I know the bench wasn't great tonight, but if Keegan Murray continues to get to improve at the rate that he's improving, this has been the best starting lineup in the NBA all season long. And the majority of that is centered around Domas.
Wow, I'm just checking out the end of this Lakers game. It looks like Dennis Schroeder hit an and one layup, and then Brandon Clark misses the second free throw to potentially tie the game, and they lose 122-121 to the LA
Another
Lakers.
very exciting game.
I don't root for the Lakers, Calvin. I don't root for them often, but I'm happy they beat the Grizzlies tonight because this is good news for the Sacramento Kings.
That ends, I think the Grizz had an 11-game winning streak coming into that game.
And one of those was against our Sacramento Kings, which is quite unfortunate. But back to Domantas Sabonis. Yeah, I mean, we're watching him here on postgame. The dude is incredibly gifted. He's so strong, right? As we say,
so strong,
Calvin.
yeah.
He can do everything. And I kind of want to go back to a question that I've asked you multiple times on the stream, but it hasn't been for at least a couple months. Is Sabonis or Domas better than his father?
That's a really tough question to answer because, again, most people, I think, aren't even old enough to have seen, or most people that watch us never saw Arvydas Sabonis play, period. But even if you did, you saw him in the twilight of his career. Back then, they didn't have televised games in Europe. They weren't scouting these guys. They weren't saying, oh, look out for this dude, Arvydas Sabonis. He's coming to the league in a couple of years. He's going to be incredible. Watch out. You didn't have any of that stuff. So by the time he got here to America and played in the NBA, he actually wasn't bad. He was Vlade Divac before Vlade Divac. But when he had his knees, that's the thing. His body wasn't right by the time he got to the NBA. When he was fully healthy and young, like Domas, he was an incredible, incredible player. They said he was the best player in Europe, hands down. It wasn't even close. So it's really hard to say. He's off to a great start, Domantas, in his career. Probably on track, definitely in his NBA career already, to be a better player. But don't sleep on Arvydas. There's a reason Domas is so good, and it was because his dad was incredible as well.
Calvin, you should be a politician, dude. That was a very, very well put together answer.
It's too early, Lane. It's too early, and I think it's unfair to compare their careers, honestly. I really do.
Yeah, exactly, Lane. Yes, he is a better player than his father, straight up. In my opinion, he's already like you mentioned, right? His father was the best player in Europe, didn't come over to the NBA for a long time. Sabonis does have a little bit of an advantage in terms of he's already starting out way, way earlier. We forgot almost that he got drafted by the Oklahoma City Thunder, right? And was with this Thunder team for a year before being traded to Indiana. Now he's here in Sacramento. Dude, he could be in the MVP voting. And I want to talk about that a little bit
Fred's
later.
got a better question. Is he
want?
better than his dad? Is he the best center in the Sacramento era?
Oh,
best Kings center in the Sacramento era.
Ever center in the Kings era. I know Fred's a Cousins fan, and I like Cousins too. I thought that Cousins... So here's my thing. This is a tough question to answer because...
Oh, here we go with the politician answer.
You saw it. Look at Bench Matthew says we're running 2024, Cal and Barry. So I got to give my political answer just like you gave yours. And while I'm doing that, guys, don't forget to smash up that like button. I see we got 77 of you guys here. Please, Calvin and I are fans just like you. We get paid in likes. So please don't forget to smash
Only
up that
11
like
more
button.
For the Island Boys.
Yeah. Calvin loves his Island Boys. But anyways, at the time, if you were to ask me who was the best center in the NBA, I would have told you it was Cousins, straight up. Cousins was the best center in the NBA. He was the most skilled. He could do the most. He had the worst attitude, right? And it didn't really end up in wins for Sacramento. But I did believe that there was a year, 2 years where he was the best center in the NBA. If you were to ask me right now, is Domantas Sabonis the best center in the NBA? I'm going to say yes. I'm just kidding. I would say no. I would say no. He is not the best center in the NBA. However,
he's close though.
He's close. I think Sabonis is better than Cousins because of leadership, because of the locker room presence, and he's getting wins with this basketball team. And I know it's a team sport and all this, but Sabonis plays winning basketball. You know how many games I watched where the Kings were in a position to win and they lost because of Cousins couldn't stop arguing with an official, or he made a boneheaded play or did something because his temper got the best of him. He's a really, really skilled player, but his temper got the best of him. I've never seen that out of Domantas Sabonis. So I would say, yes, Sabonis is the best center in the Sacramento Kings era. And, I'm not going to say Chris Webber. I guess in the current NBA, Chris Webber could probably be a center, but I'm not including him in that.
Yeah. I am going to agree with you. I think that Sabonis is better than DeMarcus Cousins. DeMarcus Cousins was, in his prime, probably more talented. A better overall scorer.
I got to
more
interrupt
fluid.
you right there.
man.
Oh yeah, the Kings won, yeah. The Sacramento Kings, oh yeah, the Kings won, yeah. Fox is so
They did it
fast.
to you,
Sabonis
They did.
is so strong, yeah. Coach Mike is so smart, yeah. They are the playoff bound, yeah.
Playoffs. Back to you, Cal.
Well, all I'm going to say is I agree. I think Sabonis is better. I think that his efficiency, his leadership, and the fact that he makes everybody around him much, much better as well is why he's better than DeMarcus Cousins. DeMarcus Cousins can go for 50 on any night, but they didn't win a lot of games, like you said. I agree there is a fair argument to be made that Sabonis has a better supporting cast than DeMarcus Cousins had, for sure. But when you factor in the efficiency, I just said best in the league right now, points per shot attempt, also gets his other teammates involved, can dominate a game with shooting less than 10 field goal attempts. He's the better player.
Yeah, I agree. I love me some Sabonis. We told the story the last podcast about how we were in Sacramento during the trade deadline. We were staying in the same hotel. He showed up right away, was ready to play the next night. He missed the last game on Wednesday due to the bubble guts or the Hershey squirts, whatever you want to call them. He was able to play tonight, Calvin. He was there.
He was.
But I want to talk about the real hero tonight, Keegan Murray. This dude had an incredible performance, Calvin, a career high, 29 points, was stroking threes from all over the place, not even to mention the 14 rebounds. Calvin,
Career
Keegan
high.
Murray led the Kings in rebounds tonight.
He did.
Led the Kings in rebounds, and he's got the number one rebounder in the NBA on his squad. He did everything tonight, Calvin, not to mention he smiled, and he had a pretty amazing dunk. I don't even know how he got that up. But great performance by Keegan Murray. I like King Keegan, dude. I think that's a great nickname. We've been calling him Threegan, and it's funny because after that dunk, you're like, oh, you're not going to be able to call him Threegan much longer. And then after that, he's just three, just stroking him in there. I'm so happy with Keegan Murray. Yeah, Jesus, you're really trying to push my buttons here with that Costa Kufis BS. But
I was waiting for somebody to bring that up, bring Kufis into there.
Keegan this guy is progressing. He is progressing. And I think one thing that I brought up to you during the game is I said, one of the main differences that I've noticed between this Kings team and Kings teams of old is, they've made a lot of good moves, stuff like that, but it's just been drafting. They've drafted so well. They hit on the last 3 draft picks, and I'm talking about Tyrese Halliburton, who you were able to flip for a multi-time All-Star, maybe a Hall of Famer in Domantas Sabonis. You nailed it with Davion Mitchell, and some people might say, oh, the verdict is still not out on him. The dude is a legit defender, and I think he is a solid NBA player. And then Keegan Murray is just getting better and better and better. Calvin, honestly, I can't tell you the last time the Kings hit on 3 draft picks consecutively, right?
Yeah, you would have to really think for a while about that.
I think the Tyreek Evans pick was good, but then he kind of fell apart after the rookie campaign. Cousins was a good pick, Isaiah Thomas, but they just never really worked together at the same time. So drafting has been absolutely huge. But Calvin, let's give all the praise to Keegan Murray tonight. I want to hear it, Cal.
Absolutely. Look, we've already had these discussions. We even had these discussions before it happened, right? We talked about how Mike Brown is, coaching him the right way. He's coaching him hard. He's demanding a lot out of him. And Keegan responds really, really well to that, right? And he's already had these good games before this. Now,
Ivan.
Now he's just adding on to his repertoire. He's a really smart player. He's also a really versatile player. This is exactly what you could have envisioned if you're Monty McNair and Mike Brown the day that you drafted him. This is why you used the 4th pick on him, because he was already a really accomplished scorer that is a phenomenal shooter, fits perfectly into the offense you want to play, and has the physical tools, the length, all of that stuff, the awareness to be a complete player and turn into a really, really, really good front court player in the NBA. I thought the comparison to somebody like Chris Middleton was a really good one coming out of college. I think that that's ultimately going to be the type of player that he ends up being in the pros for a long time. Not the greatest defender in the world in terms of a lockdown perimeter defender, but a reliable one that can switch, guard multiple positions, is really smart in the help defense area, knows where to be, comes over and makes really key plays. The rebounding was the next thing to come, right?
Yep.
And now he's attacking the ball. Like,
Collector
absolutely
makes a great point here.
Attacking the ball. Exactly. Held him accountable for a 0 rebound game. He's had a ton of rebounds ever since. I think he did have 1 3 rebound game, but after that, it was 6, 7. It's just gone up and up. 10, now 14.
Yep.
Accountability. He is, you talk a lot about the game slowing down for people. I don't think he's quite gotten to that yet, but I go back to another point I've made about him being in a great situation for him, right? He can focus on a couple of things. He's already got the shot down, and he gets open looks because he plays in an equal opportunity offense, and he plays with really, really great offensive players, so that's going to maximize the number of opportunities he gets, right, and the good looks that he gets. So that he doesn't even have to worry about. Now he can focus on, okay, where am I going to be in help defense? Can I get there and be there to take a charge? He has done that much better. Am I going to be able to, be in a position to rebound? He's being more decisive. You can tell. That's a sign of confidence building in this guy. We wanted him to be more aggressive going to the basket. He's doing that. He's just making quicker decisions on the fly now because he's more confident and he has all these games and reps under his belt.
And he's got great veterans, right, to follow in Barnes, in Sabonis. I think both of those guys help him. And then, as you mentioned, the coaching staff is holding players accountable. I think that's been absolutely huge for Keegan Murray. This, crazy as it sounds, right, this Sacramento Kings team has turned into a great place to develop young players, to instill confidence, to have a good winning culture. These are all things that if I would have said last year, everyone would have laughed me off the podcast here for hours and hours and hours. So shout out to Mike Brown. Shout out to Monty McNair. Please extend Monty. And no, Spencer Hawes is not as good as Sabonis. But hey, great team. Just effort. Like I said on the last podcast, right? It starts at the top. Vivek is empowering his staff. They're making right decisions, and the trickle-down effect is happening all the way through, and we're seeing it in the box score. We're seeing it in the standings. The Sacramento Kings are the 3rd best team in the Western Conference, Calvin. It still feels crazy for me to say that. It is absolutely crazy for me to say that.
It's mind-blowing.
But, yeah, I'm so happy about Keegan Murray. Someone wants to see my haircut. Yep, there you go. But okay, who do we want to talk about next? You want to talk about HB? You want to talk about De'Aaron Fox? We could talk a little bit about Huerter, the guy that won the chain. Obviously, one of the weirdest things for me is Richaun Holmes got 0 minutes tonight. This is after starting on Wednesday, playing exceptionally well and winning. We could talk about that in a little bit, but who do you think we should talk about next?
I want to talk about Fox.
All right, let's do it. He stops, he pops.
De'Aaron Fox.
What'd you see out of De'Aaron Fox tonight?
I saw him. I was really, really excited to see this matchup tonight, right? Because obviously you've got SGA over there. He's also looking for his first All-Star appearance. They're a year apart. They played 1 year apart at Kentucky. There's a lot of connections between these two guys, and they're both, having phenomenal seasons this year for their respective teams. I loved what I saw out of Fox today. He gives you the same thing on offense all the time. I don't even want to talk about that. For me, it's Fox got outplayed. Yeah, SGA is a great player, dude.
That's Sass, dude. You know Sass.
I know. SGA is a great player. But what I wanted to talk about, or the point I want to make here, is Harrison Barnes was on SGA for a lot of this game, and he did a pretty good job on him. I think the Kings as a team played pretty good defense overall on SGA. He's a phenomenal player, a really great shot maker, just like Fox is, and he's going to get his, right? There's a reason why he's averaging 30 points a game this season. But I loved Fox's decisiveness to say, I want that responsibility, I want that matchup.
Yep.
I saw him really stick him for a little while, in the second half. He was playing defense against SGA about as well as you could. And that's what you want to see out of your star player, right? You want to see the intensity, the fieriness, the willing to accept that role, that responsibility. That's going to be what the other guys, your role players on your team, get, roused by and go down the stretch and win a close game like that. So I think that he was really, really great tonight. He made some great passes as well. I know he only had 2 assists, but I thought he saw the floor well. He picked his spots really, really well. That's my thing with Fox. Like, I just want to see the attitude from him. I want to see him in the right frame of mind in a big game like this. It's not, to me, it's more than just give me the ball in the fourth quarter. I'm going to make these floaters and win us the game and try to get to the free throw line. It's got to be on both ends of the floor, and that's what it looked like for me.
Yeah, shout out to Double O here. Lee is here. Matthew is here. PK. I don't know if we said hi to Bench Matthew. It's good to see you here, Bench Matthew. Appreciate you.
Sass, just because a player makes shots doesn't mean the defense wasn't good. Sometimes offense is better.
Sass is
defense.
a hater, bro.
He is, but I'm just saying, like, you got to just say one good thing, man. You have to say one good thing on this show. That's my goal.
He said
one
something
positive thing about
in the past.
Kings.
I don't
he
remember
has,
what
I
it
know,
is.
And he knows I'm kidding with him. I actually appreciate somebody that is very critical. I think most people tend to be very emotional and overlook things. I love Sass's attention to detail about the game, but his defensive effort was good.
Yeah.
It was. SGA just made a ton of shots.
I totally forgot what I was going to say. We got on a Sass tangent there. What do you think Sass stands for?
Sassy.
Sassy? Then it all makes sense, right? It all makes sense. Yeah, I mean, I thought that De'Aaron played great tonight. That last layup that he had to like seal the victory there, it was crazy. I don't even know how he got open underneath the basket for that, which was great. But I really like what I'm seeing out of De'Aaron Fox. On Wednesday night, we saw he was more aggressive because Sabonis wasn't out there. He was trying to get going early in the game. Today, he got his teammates involved a little bit earlier. Like you said, he was trying to force SGA to make bad shots, try and, get him to turn the ball over. That's hard, dude. He is a good player. There's something you said to me during the game. You're like, can you believe SGA just made that shot over Davion Mitchell? Anybody that can create that much space against Davion Mitchell is a special player. And on top of that, he got his numbers tonight. He played great. What do you have, like 37 or something like that tonight?
He killed it.
Plus, your teammates are hitting threes. The Thunder had like 10 threes at halftime in this game. Shout
12,
out to my guy Lou Dort. I'm a I'm a Dort head. Dort was killing it. Kings get the win, dude. They're finding ways to win these basketball games. Even when other teams' best players are playing well, even when other teams are making threes, the Kings are finding a way to kind of squeak out victories here. What do you think? How many expletives do you think Mike Brown shouted at halftime at this Kings team?
Probably a lot.
And they respond.
They always do.
They respond.
They always do. They're a third quarter team. Still can't believe I say those words, but they're a third quarter team.
Oh, man, you guys are killing me. Alfredo, you're killing me here, Alfredo. I know you guys are just having fun. Hey, also, shout out to Matthew here. Matthew called us out for our math on, that's why he's Matthew. I'm pretty sure that's where it came from. But shout out to Matthew. He said our math was horrible on Wednesday's episode. The Kings could still win 53 games and lose like the next 11 or something like that, or 11 out of the rest of the games. Shout out to you, Matthew. Unfortunately, I am not that great at math. I try. Also, shout out to my, 7th grade math teacher that said, it's not like you're always going to be walking around with a calculator in your pocket. Shout out to him.
Yeah.
Who's right now, Calvin?
We are.
Now you can even have it on your watch and everything.
That's true. You can.
All right, back to the game. HB, Kevin Huerter. Who you want to talk about?
Your pick.
Let's talk about Old Man River. HB.
Old Man River.
HB, 11 points, 2 rebounds, 2 assists, 3 of 7 from the field. but 39 minutes of action. And, you know, I don't think the 2 rebound number really gives him credit because there was multiple instances in this game where I see him tap the ball out to teammates. He just gets in position. You know, HB, I'm going to go back to what I was saying at the beginning of the year. Harrison Barnes, over the previous 3 seasons with the Sacramento Kings, was everything, right? He was the veteran. He was one of the best players. He was the most reliable guy, Mr. Consistency, the hard worker. He was like leadership, everything. This year, things have changed a little bit. You bring in a guy like Sabonis. You add some more shooters. You have some young talent that's ready to go. De'Aaron Fox is getting better. He's a utility guy now, Calvin. He does what he needs to do, and it's different every single night, whether it's scoring, rebounding, just playing solid defense, or just, honestly, sometimes he just goes out there and he just doesn't make a mistake, which I think is something that's really, really underrated, something that doesn't show up on the box score. And, you know, if you want to argue with me and say that, you know, that's not an important quality, I got 2 words for you, Calvin. Buddy Hield.
Yeah. Yeah. He's just really solid, right? I mean, they didn't need him to score 20 points in this game because Keegan Murray was on fire. So what is he going to do? He's going to use that energy to play defense on SGA, and he's going to be, you know, taking the ball to the hole, trying to get to the free throw line. He just, like you said, he makes really smart plays. He doesn't make too many mistakes very often. He's just very solid. He's exactly the type of guy that they need alongside Keegan Murray to assist him in his growth. It's a perfect timeline, right? Yeah. As Harrison Barnes fades or rides off into the sunset for his career, Keegan Murray will be, you know, hopefully an all-star.
We will see. We'll see if HB re-signs at the end of the season or what happens. Where are you at? I haven't asked you in a little while. We were not allowed. Somebody forbid us for talking about trades on the last episode. Maybe we'll talk a little bit about trades. I know you guys want more polls and all that stuff. How are you feeling right now? Is HB getting traded at the deadline? Is he staying here? What do you think?
I wouldn't trade Harrison Barnes unless I'm getting an all-star player in return.
Wow.
I wouldn't.
Don't think that's going to happen. We just talked about it, right? We were like,
well, it's not going to be just Harrison Barnes, right? You're going to have to include a package that nets you an all-star player. But I would not trade him unless I'm getting an all-star in return.
Yeah, I agree. I agree with Collector here. Keep everyone right now, unless you can make a small move to bring in maybe a Mo Bamba or a backup big, somebody like that. I still think Rashawn Holmes is on the trade block for me. But for the most part, I'm sticking with all these guys. I think there are other ways to get better without making a big trade. That's, you know, a lot of people forget. They think, oh, we traded all these draft picks for Kevin Huerter. We traded one. And that's not till 2024, Calvin. So we still got a first-round draft pick this year. We still have a lot of young players that are continuing to get better. We're going to have cap space in the offseason. So there's a lot of ways to improve here. Shout out to JJ Redick. I was watching his podcast today, and he was talking about how he said this. He said, the Sacramento Kings are going to have home court advantage in the playoffs. You know what that means, Calvin? I'm cutting all your hair off.
Yeah. Well, probably not all of it, depending on what the haircut's going to be. But
that's incredible, dude. We definitely got to make it to a playoff game. That is for sure. All right, let's talk about Kevin Huerter. You saw him wearing the chain. Dude, have they been modifying that chain? It started out looking like your chain. Now it's got diamonds and all sorts of stuff.
Oh, it's nice. It's way better than this chain.
You know, what are your thoughts on Kevin Huerter? Is that his first defensive player of the game?
Absolutely.
Do you think he deserved it tonight?
Because I mean, he did have 6 rebounds. He was really good on the offensive boards, like he always is. I think he's a very underrated offensive rebounder for a guard. I mean, he's got good size, right? So he should be able to sneak in there. I don't know. I mean,
it's almost like the Employee of the Month award, where you just can't give it to the same guy every month, you know?
Yeah. Yeah, he had a bunch of deflections. He is good in the passing lanes. I think he has good anticipation. He just doesn't have the great lateral speed or quickness to stay glued to somebody like some of the other players on this team do. But I'm fine with him getting it. Again, I like you said, it's kind of like I view it like the game ball sort of a thing, where they're gonna give it to people, even though maybe somebody deserved a little bit more.
Factor, yeah.
But it's a fun thing that all teammates rally behind you. Everybody is super pumped when you win it for the first time. All that stuff. It's a great chemistry building thing. That's what this is. It's not.
Yeah.
They
don't get to keep it.
Yeah,
it's not like a bonus.
Yeah, exactly. It's all about building chemistry. So I think it's good. I was actually very surprised down the stretch, especially when it was really, really late in the game, and it was sort of it seemed to me like the perfect offense-defense substitution moment, right? You didn't see Davion Mitchell come in.
Yeah, you were calling that out.
They stuck with Kevin Huerter in those moments.
And he turned it
and
over.
He was even the guy that guarded Isaiah Joe on that last three-point shot. I'm not criticizing him for that. He was in good position, and that was a good play drawn up by the Thunder.
Yeah,
for a guy that was blistering hot from three. But I just thought it was really interesting, and I think it's all about Mike Brown having a good pulse on this team, right? Sticking with his guys, sticking with that starting lineup that has been so good for the Kings, even though there was a perfect opportunity to put your best defender on the team in a clear defensive situation. He stuck with Kevin Huerter, even after the turnover when he almost got himself ejected.
Yeah. Yeah, that was good. I did like how the Kings bench was like, telling him to calm down. They're like, hey, just calm down here. We don't need a technical. Yes, it's a mistake, but we're still up. Like a technical can really, really hurt you in that situation. It could turn it from a can't lose in regulation to you could lose in regulation, which is definitely key. Everyone wants to talk about Kevin Martin, huh? I liked Kevin Martin, but he was a volume shooter, kind of like Kobe Bryant. I'll keep it going. Just a little subtle jab at the Lakers fans out there. I was not a Kobe fan, just a heads up. Anyways, Kevin Huerter, I think he played well. Whether he deserved the chain or not, I agree with you. I think it's a chemistry, team-building thing. It's something you do to motivate people. Kevin was definitely trying out there tonight. He was trying really, really hard, 2 of 7 from three-point range. But something that I told you during the game is I was like, the great thing about this Kings team is there's guys on this squad that are shooters, right? Like Kevin Huerter, like Malik Monk, a lot of guys that can shoot the ball well. But at the same time, when the ball is not falling, they find other ways to impact the game. Now, Malik Monk has been through a hell of a shooting slump here, right? He had maybe one great shooting game in the past 10 games. He's been through a really, really big shooting slump. But he's found other ways to get involved. He's been passing the ball a lot. He hasn't been turning the ball over as much. He's been very active. We saw him get a couple rebounds. So I think that Kevin Huerter's kind of the same way. I think that, he started out the season so hot. He was shooting 53%, shout out to Matthew, 53% from three-point range. We all knew that was not sustainable and that it was going to come to an end at some point. But he's having games now where, if he has a great shooting night, great. If he doesn't, he's finding other ways to impact the game. Tonight it was rebounding. It was defense. Only 14 points for him. But, the most important thing of all is the Kings get the win tonight. And that's something I sense is a little bit different from this team to years past, is it's less care about individual awards, individual numbers, all that stuff. It's winning. It's winning that really, really matters. That's how you build a culture. That's how you get better. And honestly, guys like De'Aaron Fox have spoken about how hard it is being a young player, growing up, trying to develop in a team with a really bad culture, a losing culture with not much. Nobody has confidence in you. You're switching through coaches and front offices over and over and over again. De'Aaron Fox, whether you hate him or not, I like the guy. I love De'Aaron Fox. He overcame that, and now he's created this good culture on a team where guys like Keegan Murray can really excel in their first year, and it will only get better and make guys like that improve. We had a story come out, for the past couple days, they've been talking about the Houston Rockets and how that team is basically a shit show, right? You got a couple young guards that have all the talent in the world, but they don't play the right way. There's been multiple veterans calling them out, saying that, they're selfish, they don't care about winning, all this stuff. Calvin, it feels so good to have the target on another team and not us. But, now that I'm able to look at it from an outside perspective, I agree. You have a lot of talent, but, in the NBA, you need people to teach you how to win. And, whether you want to hate on LeBron or not for going to Miami, LeBron never really had anybody in Cleveland that taught him how to win. Yes, he went to the finals. Yes, he had a lot of really good seasons, all-star numbers, all that. But he didn't really win a title until he played with a team that taught him how to win in the NBA. And, not saying the Kings are going to win the title this year, but I think moments like that are huge, and they really, really help your team.
Yeah, absolutely. I couldn't agree more.
All right. Anybody here you want to touch on the bench? I know I touched briefly on Malik Monk. We could talk a little bit about Davion. Nobody off the bench tonight had more than 7 points. Nobody had more than 5 rebounds. But Calvin, Chimezie Metu, I want to talk about Metu because you mentioned lateral quickness earlier, saying, Kevin Huerter's not the fastest guy. He doesn't have the most lateral quickness. One guy that does have really good lateral quickness on this team is Chimezie Metu. If you're the referees, you don't believe that, and everything's a foul on Metu. You challenge it, challenge successful, foul on Metu. But I just want to give a shout-out to Chimezie Metu because, Calvin, we've seen the guy progress. He had some really bad plays, some really bad decisions over the past couple years. I really love what I'm seeing out of Chimezie this year. And that kind of goes back to Coach Brown and accountability, right? He's taking less bad threes. He's getting to the basket. He's dunking. He's playing good defense. And even when the refs are hating on him, Cal, shout out Chimezie.
Absolutely. Shout out. I am a Chimezie Metu fan. I was a fan of his last year. I think he has a ton of talent. He just needed a coach to get in there and shake him up and say, this is your role on this team. This is how you're going to help us win. You just talked about winning games, right, and how important that is for young players. Metu's got a leash on him now, and it's a good leash to have. Mike Brown, I think, is taking advantage of his skill set and allowing him to develop more as a player. You would really love to see more out of him offensively, but he's going to really help this team win if he pulls it together defensively. And like you said, is the lob threat, the rim runner, all of that stuff. Sets really good screens, which he does. But yeah, his ability for a big man, because he is on this team, for a guy that's able to switch and guard multiple positions, guard smaller players, guard guards, and be able to stay in front of them and contest shots. That's huge for this team. Absolutely huge. And he's done that really, really well. I couldn't help but think how many times last year on this show I said, man, the Kings need to stop switching so much because they suck defensively. They get put in these terrible situations where teams take advantage of mismatches and they just get killed because they switch too much. Watching this game, they were switching almost everything. And it was working very well. You've got Trey Lyles and Metu playing together. Those guys, neither of them are the fastest or the quickest or jump the highest. I mean, Chimezie Metu has great hops, but I'm talking about Trey Lyles more so. But those guys are really smart players. They're really solid defensive players that can guard multiple positions, and it looks really, really great when you're able to pull that off. They have a long way to go, but compared to what they've been for the past 3 seasons, which is by far historically the worst defensive team in NBA history, they've come a long, long way from that.
Yeah, and I just, want to highlight one thing you said there, right? And the fact that Metu has been, I guess, his leash has been shortened, right, with the things that he's allowed to do. And I think that it's important to note that, every player is different. There's different types of people. And the cool thing about it is a coach like Mike Brown knows how to respond to each type of personality. For a guy like Keegan Murray, Keegan doesn't really like to go outside of what he can do. He needs encouragement to get out there. Like, he needs more leash. Mike Brown's giving him more leash. Come on, get your confidence, get going, do more. Versus a guy like Metu, it's kind of the opposite, where it's like, you're doing too much, man. Calm down a little bit. You're good at this, this, and this. Let me put you in a position to succeed at those things. So it's really great having a coach that can identify the differences in the types of players like that. And, a lot of people like to rag on when they say, oh, you got the superstar treatment, or you were treated differently than the rest of your teammates. In all honesty, everybody's different, and they should be treated accordingly, right? It's so cool that Mike Brown can do that. He can say, okay, Metu, this is what I need you to do because you're doing way too much. This is how you're going to fit better in the system, and this is going to equal more minutes. And at the same time, say, Keegan, you're not doing enough. We need more from you. Do this, 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 and this. And they're both responding. So I think that that's really important to have a guy that knows how to push the buttons and get the best out of his players.
Absolutely.
Yeah, everyone's talking about old school Kings here. Bonzi Wells. Wow,
I know there have been some names scrolling in this chat that I have not seen or thought about in quite some time.
Shout out to Kufis, the doofus. PK, this team is nowhere near its ceiling. Sass is watching the video of Dylan Brooks talking to Shannon Sharp. Yeah, Calvin and I were talking about Dylan Brooks the other day. I don't really know what to think about him anymore. He is a free agent. Would you consider signing him if you're the Kings?
I would consider signing him, honestly. I still love his defense, his intensity. Again, his versatility. He's got great size, can guard a lot of positions. The people definitely, the thing that is easy to criticize him for, I just mentioned that Sabonis is number 1 in the league for points per shot attempt, right? Dylan Brooks is second to last in the NBA for points per shot attempt.
Yeah.
The shot selection is definitely a thing to criticize with him. He definitely doesn't lack confidence. But I think for a team like Sacramento that already has a bunch of really good shooters and is lacking the defensive versatility and the defensive intensity, he's definitely a type of player that I would look to target.
Yeah, definitely. We'll definitely do, as we get closer, once we pass like the trade deadline, stuff like that. Obviously, if the Kings continue to keep winning games here, we're going to be talking about the most important thing, which is day-to-day, game-to-game, what we can do to improve. But we'll definitely do some segments talking about how to improve in the offseason. So we'll definitely target guys like that. Anybody else you want to talk about on the bench tonight? I mentioned Monk, only 5 points for him, but he did have 5 assists. I think only 1 or 2 turnovers tonight. 7 points for Trey Lyles doing his thing. Only 5 points for Davion. No Alex Len. No Rashawn Holmes. No Della Vedova. No Terrence Davis. And the Bulldozer. Recently signed.
The Bulldozer.
Did not get any minutes tonight. Any of those guys?
Recently re-signed to another 10-day contract.
Any of these guys that really stood out to you? KZ, 2 minutes tonight for KZ?
The only person I think worth mentioning is Trey Lyles again. The guy has been so solid for them. He didn't have his greatest game statistically, but he also makes the right plays. He's in the right position defensively. He had some great help possessions in help defense during this game. Makes a lot of hustle plays. He's a guy that you can give the ball to on offense. He's a playmaker as well as a scorer. He's been, in my opinion, overall, their most consistent player off the bench this season. Davion's the best defender, but Trey Lyles is the most consistent overall player off the bench for this team, and he's been huge for them over the past, 3 months, basically, this month.
Yeah. Shout out to Charles here. Charles makes a good point. The issue is that we have some depth, and that depth means people who want to see are not going to see time. Yeah. And I think that's really, really important, especially, last year we saw how many people were out due to COVID protocols, stuff like that. there's been multiple guys on the Kings roster that have missed games this year in non-COVID related protocols. Calvin, I don't remember so many people missing games for being sick. It's very, very interesting. But yeah, you're right, Charles. It's good to have a deep team right now. That is definitely very important. Alfredo says Kings legend Chuck Hayes was low key great to watch. I like Chuck Hayes with Houston. Not a big Chuck Hayes and Sacramento fan. I mean, he started out okay, but I mean, didn't we have to give up like a first round pick to move off his contract? So undersized center. Sorry, Chuck Hayes. I appreciate what you did, but I mean, dude, what have you done for me lately? I'm all about the new Kings, Calvin.
Maxwell, man.
I'm all about the new Kings, Calvin. We're winning games. They want to live in the past, Calvin. I don't know why. We had a 7-game win streak this season. Now we're on a 6-game win streak, and these guys want to live in the past, Calvin.
You gotta respect where you came from to get to this point, right?
Yeah, you do. Yeah, I know, Charles. History makes the present.
Remember the history.
But
it's all about the memories, man.
Live in the moment and enjoy it. Enjoy it right now. We don't know how long this is going to last. Enjoy it while you can. All right, team stats here, Calvin. We can look at these real quick. Kings shot 47% from the field, 31% from three-point range. The Oklahoma City Thunder started out red hot in this game, only hit 40%. I said only because they had, 12 threes in the first half of this game?
They did.
Only 4 threes in the second half. The Kings hit that magic number, 12 threes in the game, 12 of 38 from the field. They also shot much, much better from the free throw line. And look at that free throw discrepancy, 28 free throw attempts for the Kings. They made 24 as opposed to only 11 free throw attempts for the Oklahoma City Thunder. And I'm still here ragging on the referees. The Kings did win the rebound number 52-36 tonight. And look at that, 40 huge defensive rebounds for the Sacramento Kings, 25 assists for the Kings. Would like to see more than that. That number obviously goes up when they're hitting much better percentage from three-point range. Anything else here that really stood out to you? Points in the paint, fouls, turnovers?
I mean, I think this game came down to two things for me. In the first half, Oklahoma City was hitting their threes, but they were also forcing turnovers. This is the team that forces the most turnovers in the NBA. And they were taking advantage of those. 15 turnovers. Oklahoma City gets 19 points off those turnovers. That was the key stat for me in the first half, why the Thunder had the lead. You and I looked at each other and said they can't shoot like this in the second half, right? And that's when the rebounding number really started to go swing towards Sacramento, or in Sacramento's favor, and they ended up dominating on the boards because the Thunder came back down to earth a little bit. Missed a bunch of threes in the second half. Kings did turn it over, but I think did they have 10 turnovers at halftime? So I think they had 5 in the second half. I could be wrong about that. I think that's something close.
Yeah, they definitely.
So they did a better job taking care of the ball in the second half, limited the amount of easy transition opportunities that the Thunder thrive on, and they were able to get rebounds.
Yeah, Alfie, man, I did have some chocolate today. Thank you for asking. Okay. Calvin, the moment has come. It is time to look at the standings. Man, it feels good. Also, heads up, we're on Twitter Spaces. We're live. If any of you guys want to have your voices heard, now is the time to jump on Twitter. Follow us at Royal_Rebounds. You can find our space. It's posted on the page. You can also click on our profile picture, join the space, and request to come up on stage if you want to have your voice heard. Also, Calvin, tomorrow's the last day for what?
Voting for Domantas Sabonis and De'Aaron Fox and any other Kings player you want to vote for. You better not be voting
Calvin
for
and Barry.
any non-Kings player, but
Yep.
definitely vote for Sabonis and Fox.
Make sure you vote. But hey, here we are, Calvin. Look at these Western Conference standings. As we mentioned, Memphis lost tonight late to the LA Lakers, dropping now to 14 losses on the season. The Sacramento Kings improve to 26-18. They are now 8 games. Calvin, 8. I almost got it wrong. Shout out Matthew. 8 games. 8 games above
Math is
500,
hard.
Calvin. You know 8's my lucky number, right?
I do.
That's pretty great. That is great. That's, I mean, like,
So
honestly.
you want them to go 500 for the rest of the season? is what you're saying?
No, don't even say that. But what I'm saying is, honestly, what I was looking forward to this season, and shout out to you, you brought this up when I was making fun of your hair bet. You said no one thought they were going to be this good. And I agree with you. I would have been happy with 42-42. That's too many games. I would have been happy with 41-41, Calvin. I would have been happy with 500. Here we are 8 games above 500. We're the 3rd seed in the Western Conference. The West Coast is the best coast. You guys all know that.
That's right.
Supposed to be the hardest conference in the NBA. I don't know if it is anymore, Calvin.
It's not.
Maybe
It's
it
definitely
shifted
not.
to the East, right? You got Boston, you got Milwaukee. It's okay. It doesn't matter who we face in the finals, Calvin. It's all about the journey. It's about the road. We're living in the present, not the past, Calvin. We're on the way. You heard the Island Boys. They said we are the playoffs.
We are the playoff.
We are the playoffs. How does this look to you? We're above New Orleans. I know you were high on New Orleans.
I'm still high on New
We're
Orleans.
above Dallas.
They've been without Brandon Ingram and Zion for a while now.
Part of the game,
I
Calvin.
don't even know when Brandon Ingram is going to play again.
Part of the game.
It is part of the game. I'm just saying.
We've been without
Just
Sabonis for the last 5 years.
Okay.
Okay, so we're above Dallas. We're above the Clippers. Didn't the Clippers just lose?
No, they won tonight. They won in San
They
Antonio.
lost last night.
They did lose last night.
Kawhi had an amazing game tonight. I think 36 or 37, something like that. Golden State's here below us. Utah, Minnesota, Phoenix. These are all teams that have been killing us over the past couple seasons. And, dude, we are the 3rd seed. It feels
We are the
great.
playoff.
Also, shout out to everyone talking about Jimmer Fredette here. I got a quick little story. As you guys might know, in Hawaii here, there are a lot of Tongans. And I don't know what the connection is, but there's a lot of Tongans around like BYU. They go to BYU. There's a lot of Tongan Mormons. And all the Tongans that I worked with, they absolutely loved Jimmer Fredette. Every time I wore my Kings gear, all I'd hear from them is, Jimmer Fredette, nothing but net. Jimmer Fredette, nothing but net. Oh, my God, it was annoying, dude, because this is when there was Jimmer Fredette, nothing, not even net, you know?
Yeah.
And these guys are just, oh, my God, Jimmer's the best. You're so lucky you got Jimmer. You need to trade everybody else on your team and make Jimmer the star player. Oh, my God, Jimmer. Get out of here, Jimmer. I don't even want to talk about Jimmer anymore. But, hey, let's talk about, Calvin, the next game coming up here on the schedule. We mentioned the Kings are on a 6-game winning streak, Calvin.
They are.
And, Calvin, this isn't even their best winning streak of the year.
It's not.
They won 7 games earlier this season. We got a back-to-back, double-double. I'm thinking In-N-Out Burger. We got a back-to-back tomorrow against the Philadelphia 76ers at home.
At home.
That's exciting. They could potentially go for 7 wins in a row. So first question for you before we dive into this game, do you think the Kings will have a longer than 7-game winning streak this season, Calvin?
Will they have a longer than 7-game winning streak this season? Oh, that's tough, man. Yeah, sure, why not? I'll say yes.
You got to beat Philadelphia. You got
To
to beat
quote
Memphis.
my friend Nick, why not?
Why not? Also, shout out to Charles here for the super chat. He's got a question for you.
Why didn't Jimmer translate to the NBA? Man, that's a good question because he really did have a pretty nice offensive skill set. I think that overall, Jimmer in college, there's no denying he's a great shooter, right? But for the type of role I think that they tried to use him in the pros, he wasn't good enough to create for himself against NBA level talent. It was a completely different thing in college. I just think once he got to the pros, it was way harder for him to create separation from NBA defenders. He had to rely too much on his pure shooting ability. He was a really good shot maker and shot creator from all over the place in college.
Yep.
That didn't translate as well to the NBA, and they didn't get somebody next to him that was able to free him up. To me, he screamed J.J. Redick, right? Like a guy running around a million miles an hour, coming off a billion screens,
Shout out to
and then
Kevin
all
Green
of a
here.
sudden gets the ball in his hands and it just flies to the basket. That's what I think Jimmer Fredette how he should have been used in the pros. Not saying it would have worked or extended his career necessarily. He was a terrible defender. So that side of the ball, he was, I don't think, ever going to really make an impact on.
How about Thomas Robinson? Should we just go down the line? Maybe we'll do an episode one
Yeah,
time.
we should go look at
We'll just
that.
go over all the draft picks.
But I mean, it's so hard, right? Like Ben McLemore, perfect example, right? You were stoked when the Kings drafted Ben McLemore.
I was.
Dude killed it at Kansas. He looked like he was going to translate perfectly.
Dude,
to
some
the
people
NBA.
were projecting him as number 1 overall.
Exactly. And I mean, to give him a little bit of credit, he was able to revive his career later by fitting into a different type of role. It's just, it's tough, man. It's really hard to project how these guys are going to pan out in the NBA. They're all good. They're all talented. They're all really good at certain things. And, you know, I think some of it is obviously the situation you get drafted into, right?
Yeah.
I mean, for the guys that aren't the top 1% of talent who are able to affect games no matter what other players or other talent is around them, Jimmer Fredette was not that guy.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, going back to McLemore, just real quick, one thing that really pissed me off about Ben McLemore was I was so excited. And it's my own fault. You know, I got my own hopes up and all. I thought he was going to be the guy. I thought he was going to be the Sabonis, the guy that brought us to the promised land. But as soon as I saw him start playing in the NBA, the dude looked like a lost deer running around on the court. He did not know where he was supposed to be. He didn't seem like he knew any defensive principles, schemes, anything, dude. He just looked completely lost. And that's probably why it took him, 7-8 years to actually like establish himself in the NBA, maybe even longer, maybe 10 years. But yeah, shout out to Ben McLemore. I'm happy you made it. I really enjoyed watching him with the Houston Rockets making some shots because it was rough. It was definitely rough to watch for the Sacramento Kings. Shout out to everybody in the chat. We appreciate you all so much, and we love all the people talking about we are winning on Saturday. Shout out to Central Valley King. But Calvin, back to the game here. Here's ESPN doing some more fuck shit. They are projecting the Philadelphia 76ers to win this game 62% to 38% for the Sacramento Kings. Let's take a look here at the injury report. There you go. James Harden, day to day. Nobody listed for the Sacramento Kings. Calvin, give me your keys. No, we're going to wait on the keys. Give me your first thoughts on this game.
Well, there have been recently some very, very hot teams in the NBA. One of them just lost tonight, so really you're looking at, and actually two of them, because the Thunder were on a little win streak as well. So at this point, the Kings, the 76ers, and maybe the Denver Nuggets are like the three hottest teams in the NBA right now. Philadelphia is playing really, really good ball. This is going to be an interesting game. You know, the Kings are on a back-to-back, even though it's at home. Philadelphia's been in Sacramento. They had the day off today. They're going to be well-rested going into this game. James Harden, we just talked about, you know, guys reinventing themselves and extending their careers and stuff like that. James Harden's been under a lot of criticism, much of it rightfully so, I would say, over the past couple of years. But the way that he's playing right now with Embiid, the two of them in that two-man game, they are really tough to stop. And then you factor in Tyrese Maxey, who's just an offensive juggernaut. Super difficult to defend, super difficult to stop.
Yep.
This team is also a pretty good defensive team. Matisse Thybulle is a great defender. It's going to be a tall task for Sacramento. It does not get easier, for sure.
Yeah, you're right. This is going to be a little rough stretch of games before we face the injury-riddled Minnesota Timberwolves in a couple games here. But the Sixers are on a 4-game winning streak. We saw that tonight, Calvin. The Thunder were on a 4-game winning streak. We were on a 5-game winning streak. We crushed them. Now we're on a 6-game winning streak, going for 7, going to tie our record for the season at 7 games in a row. I think this is going to be an exciting game. Shout out to all my guys in Sacramento. If you go to a strip club tonight, you might see James Harden. Right?
Yeah, that's true.
Maybe that's why he's listed as day to day.
Perhaps.
They don't know how late he's going to be out tonight. Interesting. I think this is going to be an exciting game. You mentioned the two-man pick-and-roll game between Harden and Embiid. Definitely hard to stop. I'm a big Joel Embiid fan. I thought he was going to be having a much better year than he's having, honestly. You know, the numbers are there, but last year...
he's been like second or third in scoring all year long.
Last year, he was a different guy. Last year, he was an absolute beast. And he doesn't seem the same to me. I don't know what it is. Maybe it's me. Maybe I don't watch enough Sixers games. But, you know, last year he seemed like he was on a mission. This year he seems to have relaxed a little bit. Maybe it's because he does have a healthy James Harden, or mostly healthy James Harden, that's there to take some of the load off of him. But, Calvin, I'm going to predict a win here.
Why not?
Why not? Give me your keys to the game.
Key number one is going to be pick and roll defense. I mean, it's no secret that the way that the Sixers kind of lull you to sleep with Harden and Embiid, it's a really difficult two-man game to stop because James Harden, as great of a scorer as he's been in his career, he's not looking to score anymore. That's not the first option for him. It's all about playmaking. He's a very, very skilled passer, and when you have a guy like Embiid that he's dumping the ball off to, combined with, they don't have a ton of really, really great shooters, but George Niang has been shooting over 40% from three all season long. You have Maxey out there as well. That's a really, really difficult thing to stop. So pick and roll defense. Number two, defend without fouling. You know, a lot of people in the chat talking about how the Sixers flop a lot. They do, but it's going to be really critical for Sacramento, who is not a big team, does not have much outside of Sabonis to be able to throw at a guy like Embiid. You're going to have to find a way to challenge these guys defensively, challenge shots without fouling. And then my third key is going to be bench production. They're going to need a better game from the bench in this one than they've had over the past couple.
Yeah, I agree. For me, and also shout out to Bobby V here for putting some money in the beer fund. Appreciate you, Bobby. Thank you for the super chat. For me, Calvin, I think somebody mentioned here in the chat, Sabonis has got to stay out of foul trouble. I think that is critical. That is critical because he's going to be battling Embiid all night long. I only have two keys for this game. That's key one. Key two, you got to shoot the three ball well. You got to shoot the three ball well to stay in this game. I think that's the only way you can put pressure on Embiid and Harden and make them work harder. I think they play much better from ahead, not as well from behind. If the Kings can get up early, if they can hit threes early, I think that's definitely going to be huge. Malik, I'm looking at you. All right, Calvin, we got our first guest here of the show tonight. We're going to connect him here on Twitter Spaces. It's Coach Nick. And he is connecting. Nick, what is up, buddy? How are you, man?
Good. Why not light the beam?
Light the beam.
Why not?
How are you feeling, buddy? I know you were sick last week. Are you feeling better?
Well, do I sound better?
Yeah.
You do sound better.
You do sound better.
Well, why not beat strep throat?
Why not beat strep throat? Hell yeah, dude. I like it. Did you have your practice over the weekend?
Yeah, I practiced really good. So, but we still don't know what I'm going to be doing.
Okay.
That's awesome. That's because you're everywhere, right?
He's like Sabonis, dude. You can't hold him down for too long.
Positionless.
Yeah. Beat strep throat. Beat the next team. Why not?
Yeah. Why not win tomorrow? Today I got to see James Harden in person today.
Really? Oh, really? Where?
Downtown Tag over the Outfitters over there inside the build inside.
Okay. Did you cough on him?
Yeah. Did you touch him? Get him sick?
Yeah. Huh?
Did you cough on him?
No, I did not.
Damn it,
Nick.
Next time. How are you feeling about tomorrow's game, Nick? You got any keys? What do you think the Kings need to do to win?
I feel like that you need to stay on your lane and guard James Harden.
Okay.
Did
James talk to you at all? Did he say how many points he was going to have tomorrow or anything like that?
I asked James Harden if I can get a picture with him. He said, no, not right now.
Oh, wow.
Man, because he knows
He
you're a
said, "No,
Kings
not right
super
now,
fan.
bro."
He knows you.
Were you wearing a Kings shirt or Kings jersey?
Yeah, unfortunately.
Okay. Don't say unfortunately.
No, you should have been.
I was.
Yeah. That's good. We
Hey,
don't like James
why not
Harden.
win?
Why not?
Why not win tomorrow?
Why not win tomorrow? Yeah, I think it's definitely going to happen. Nick, we
Hey.
won 7 games in a row this year before. Now we're on a 6-game winning streak. If we win tomorrow, we could potentially have 2 7-game winning streaks. That's amazing.
That would be amazing.
It would, absolutely.
You got any questions for Nick?
What's the final score tomorrow, Nick?
I think it's going to be 140 to 98.
120 to 98?
I like it.
140.
140
Oh,
to
I'm going to write
98.
that down.
Oh,
let me
man.
write that down.
We're going to be happy tomorrow.
That's Kings winning, right?
Yes.
Okay, good.
140 to 98. I'm in shock. Like, that would be incredible.
Do you have another practice this weekend, Nick?
Tomorrow.
Oh, tomorrow. Are you going to be able to watch the game, or is your practice like earlier?
11 to 12:30.
Okay. That's not
Then
too
I'll
bad.
be at the game tomorrow. I'll be at the game tomorrow night as a practice.
All right.
Oh, wow. What, you got some good seats? Where are you sitting?
I'm not sure where.
Okay.
Make sure you rub it in James Harden's face when we win.
Yeah.
I guess you're right. I will. I sure will.
Why not?
Nick, you got to take a picture of yourself at the game tomorrow and tag us on Twitter. We want to see where you're sitting at.
I will.
All right, buddy. Well, we're gonna let you go here. Any last words for the Kings fans out there?
Hey, go Kings! I like the beam.
Light the beam, dude. Thank you so much for calling in, Nick. Have a wonderful practice tomorrow. Have fun at the game tomorrow, and hopefully you'll join us for post game.
I will. Sleep beam.
Sleep beam.
Sleep beams. I always love Nick, man. He's awesome. He's so cool, man. I like him a lot. He's a good guy.
Good dude.
Next time we're in Sacramento, we got to go watch one of his practices.
Definitely.
I think that'd be a lot of fun. That'd be definitely really cool. All right, Calvin. Well, I think that pretty much wraps us up tonight for the show. Any other words for anybody out there?
Why not have a 7-game win streak?
Why not
So that's all I got.
have a 7-game win streak? Dude, I'm doing it.
Yeah, yeah. Oh, yeah, the Kings won, yeah. The Sacramento Kings, oh, yeah, the Kings won, yeah. Fox is so fast. Sabonis is so strong, yeah. Coach Mike is so smart, yeah. They are the playoff bound, yeah.
That's pretty wild, Calvin. I mean, what are the odds that our Kings fan, our Kings super fan that has strep throat runs into James Harden?
I know, right?
That's great.
That is great.
Maybe he'll be on the injury report soon.
We probably needed him to run into him a couple days earlier, but
Yeah.
that's okay.
Yeah, because now he could get it. He could play tomorrow, and then
Exactly.
the
And then he could
Kings-
give it to a bunch of Kings players.
Yeah.
No. We're going down a bad tunnel here.
Yeah, we
Kings
do-
are going to win. We want them to beat them at full strength.
We
anyway.
don't wish harm
And
on
NBA
anybody.
Finals preview, right?
NBA Finals preview. Anyways, thank you guys so much for hanging out tonight. We appreciate you all so much. Please don't forget to smash up that like button, hit that subscribe button. We will be here tomorrow for all of your viewing pleasure. Hopefully you guys have a wonderful night. Light the beam, and as always, go Kings.